All right, here is the second of probably my most anticipated arrivals. It is Kingdom Megatron, the Beast version, the Megatron version. I got it from GameStop. I do have one on order from CMD Store, who is expecting them at some point soonish. I think early January was what they said they were expecting these. And then GameStop got him in. Just him, not Optimus Prime. They got the single case of Megatron. I ordered him like Christmas Eve, maybe the 23rd. Like, I ordered him very quickly before Christmas, and he showed up on Sunday. It was super awesome. And here he is as a dinosaur. Real quick, before we get into other things, there he is with Monkey. And they hang out together, and they fight sometimes. Sometimes they go, "Roar!" He's like, "I will get you, Optimus." And he's like, "No, you won't, Megatron." And they fight, and they fight, and they fight. But that's what they do, and that's how big they look next to each other. Like that. So, Megatron himself. You can see he is a T-Rex. He's actually a fairly posable T-Rex, and the drawback to that is, as you can see, he does have a lot of loose panels and panel lines. Even when you get everything straight, you can see where everything comes together. It's definitely a drawback, but it's not. It doesn't drive me crazy because he's a lot of fun to play with, and I'm willing to accept that as the trade-off for having what is probably the most posable dinosaur Megatron we've gotten in a while. Because, one, it actually uses his elbow joint here at the upper part for the tail, and then there's a little hinge joint there where his tail meets for the claw. It actually rotates too. So his tail can move a pretty wide range this way. His legs can rotate. There's a really neat innovative system on this upper piece here that allows his leg to rotate. Although I will say the way these attach to here, you can kind of see it. We'll show it off later. There's a little plug that comes in through the slot in this piece and then pins into this. So if you lift his legs out, you want to make sure that you don't want to pull these too wide because you want to make sure if you hook this up, grab it by this hard plastic up here. But you don't want to move, even though he does have the ability for his legs to come out wider than that. You don't really want to do that in dinosaur mode because it'll start pulling this and it'll loosen that pin. I actually had, just right out of the box, one of my pins was loose and I had to fix it, but like you can make that worse or possibly pop this whole piece off. It's easy enough to fix, but just be careful with that, the way it connects up here, and we'll talk about that. But and then he's got little ball joints at his shoulders. His knees do bend, and I don't know, when you bend his knees, you can see his knee joint in here. And it's the same bonish white-colored plastic as the bottom of his feet and toenail claws. I don't know if it's genius or really creepy that they made the exposed joint when you bend his knee bone-colored. It's like you're snapping his leg. But there you go. And then his feet have ankle tilt as well as front to back for various dinosaur poses. His neck, these panels here are on springs. So you can, like this panel will come up a little bit. But you can turn his head, and these panels will spring back into place to kind of fill that gap. Again, because of the way it all works, and there's a hinge there and a hinge up here. So if you want to have him in more of a leaning down Tyrannosaurus pose, you can do that. And there's even more range than that. But yeah, you've got the joint up here. So yeah, there's a lot of panel lines where everything comes together, but it does allow for a much more posable dinosaur. And I'm willing to let that slide because he's super fun. His mouth opens very wide, and if you just pull up on his top jaw, his mouth, his whole head moves. But if you grab the bottom jaw and open it, it automatically will pop his jaw open, which is kind of cool. Granted, you don't need it quite that big. He does have a port in there that you can take some blast effects and plug in. It's a little silly in dinosaur mode, but when he's got his arm blaster, it makes a little bit more sense. But yeah, all in all, I am very happy with this dinosaur mode, and he's a lot of fun. He's got a nice scheming looking face. Very cool. Now some of his skin parts, like this panel here, and these pieces that I was just talking about, have hard inner shells with like a softer vinyl-y rubber over them. It's not sticky, it seems fine, but I do, somebody pointed out, I hadn't even thought about it, and somebody pointed out there might be some concerns of the vinyl-y rubber plastic kind of melting away from the hard plastic. I haven't seen any indication that that's going to be what happens. It seems pretty solid and secure and pretty stable, but who knows what the years will do to this toy. For right now, though, it's a lot of fun. Now, to transform him into a robot mode, we'll start off here right here, you open up these panels first, but again, grab them kind of up here by the hard plastic. Kind of wiggle them past this little circle bit and make sure they lift at this hinge up here because, like I said, this you can see the different colored purple is the hard plastic shell that the softer rubbery plastic is on top of, and then through it there's a sliding mechanism that allows his legs to rotate in both directions in dinosaur mode. But this little piece right here is a separate piece that you can see is pinned in through this slot joint, and if it gets too loose, this will get really wibbly at the end, especially at the ends of each thing. Like that was where I noticed I could see how this piece isn't moving, but this rotates a little bit. This is the one I actually had to fix. Wait, no, it was this one. I don't remember. But if you pull that too loose, if you have it here and you start grabbing it down here, you're going to wiggle that on that, and you don't want to risk damaging it. But you can see this is pegged in here. But anyway, open up the legs like this, and then untab it from these two posts here on the legs, and then this whole assembly comes up like, see, some of this soft plastic, it's pegged in and it gets caught. I was going to talk about it down here, but it's doing it up here too. You just pop it back in. It's got like a mushroom peg that's soft enough to push through. But lift this up and then fold it down like this, and then this little clip right here will tab onto the slot it's on. Just lift that up like that, and then rotate the tail down and around like this. And then these, the waist piece is pegged into the side of the torso under here, so you want to kind of get under here and untab that. You can see this tab piece tabs into like at the side of his abs here inside the dinosaur. These I have found, you want them to be 90 degrees to the white piece in both positions. So it helps if you kind of bring this out, bring it as close to 90 as you can. Sometimes you can get it all the way to 90 here before you snap it up into here. And that just makes it a lot easier to get these pieces to snap together when you get to the middle. Kind of bring this out, snap that up into there, and then snap those pieces together. And then once you've got those snapped together, give them a little push from underneath to make sure they seat properly, and that should hold. Get them right. Make sure they push all the way up. Should hold a little bit more securely if you get that pushed all the way up to 90 degrees in there. And there's the waist together, and then these little circular pieces, they pull out. There's a little peg on here, a little round peg, and then there's a little octagonal hole down here, or hexagonal, and then up here. So you just rotate it up and then peg it back into the leg to give him his little thigh blasters. Like that. And so you got that. That was, it's 2:30, I know, or yeah, 2:30. That's the middle of the hour beep. And then up here, so here's what I was talking about with the tail. These panels are softer plastic, and kind of the hard corners get caught on this curved bit. So when you want to open these panels up, but make sure to kind of push in up here. That's probably something you could heat up with a hairdryer and melt in, but I don't know what's going on inside there. Folding it up into here may push it back out. So just when you fold these up, make sure to catch those hard 90-degree corners. Just kind of push them in a little bit, just to make sure they don't get caught and keep warping here on the corners of the opening. But just fold those open and out, and go ahead and untab this from the forearm, and then this piece rotates around on this hinge, and then you've got you can wiggle it this way, and then this hinge opens this way for his little forearm claw. This whole assembly does not detach, so you can see all of this purple plastic from up here into the forearm down into here is all one piece, or screwed together in some way. Now his hand does have a pin on it to allow it to fold up, although that's not a transformation thing. That may just be to let him hold some specific things without interfering with this. I'm not sure, but he does have a hinge there on his wrist for whatever reason. Then come up here, just kind of straighten up the dinosaur head, and open these panels up here on his chest. This whole thing opens up, and then these panels fold in, and then this outer panel is on a dual hinge here and here. Fold it around like that, and fold it around like that. And then you can take the torso, and it's on a hinge. There's a black hinge here, and then a white hinge right behind the torso. Go ahead and flip out his head, and that allows this to kind of rotate down and lower. And then this piece, this is what tabbed him in to the side of his torso here, and then the outer edges of this are clips that are going to clip into his torso piece here. So just snap that down. And you can kind of see where we're going from here. Bring this arm down, rotate his dinosaur arm down and around. He's got a little bit of a hinge there. And then all this backpack kind of sits on his back. And then fold his dinosaur arms in here, and then fold this little panel down kind of to cover them. Now these panels right here that were on the back of the legs, in the package that he came, these were folded down like this. And you can do that. You can, if you want to have that like that, you can leave them facing down. It keeps this area right up here a little cleaner, but you can kind of see him hanging down here behind his body. If you want to make the backpack a smidge bigger, I mean, it really doesn't make it bigger. It just rearranges some pieces. You can take these. You can actually take these and rotate these all the way around so they're facing up. Personally, I like them up like this. It kind of gives him the wings back here. But he does have a fairly substantial backpack. It doesn't really affect his posing. His feet have a good range of motion, and all of his joints are solid enough that I don't have a huge issue with it. You can also, if you want to, you can click these in one click on this purple hinge, and that holds them a little closer to the rest of the body, keeps them from sticking out. It's entirely personal preference there. Again, he comes packaged with them facing down. And that does, like I said, if you rotate it, you can see it doesn't really change the size of the backpack, but if you don't want as much sticking up over his shoulders, you can leave those down like that. But then you've got some mess behind his arms. It's really up to you. I think officially, let me look at the instructions here. Yeah, officially the instructions have them hanging down in the back. Like I said, I prefer them up, but whatever. Also, you get the instruction sheet, which is actually the instructions are much improved. The card I got with him was another Dinobot card, and it's even got the same image underneath it. So nothing new or spectacular there. Because I know they're randomized. I don't know if the image underneath them is always the same. Makes sense though, if they would be. But anyway, there he is in robot mode, and he's actually quite. He's really very cool. I'll clip his head all the way in. His head is on a ball joint, although due to the shape of it, maybe it is just a swivel hinge. Yeah, because it kind of moves up and down, but it doesn't move like it's supposed. That's supposed to be the thing. I don't want to break it off. But so swivel hinge head, which a very nice head sculpt. Let's see if we can get him in here for this head sculpt. Yeah, look at that. It's fancy Megatron head sculpt. Got a little Predacon symbol up here and everything. But yeah, so you got the head sculpt. He's got a little bit of forward shoulder motion on this shoulder just because of the neck swivel or neck hinge, but not on this shoulder. This shoulder just has the forward, front to back, and side to side hinge. Although this one has that as well, front to back hinge and a side hinge. He's got a bicep swivel, a hinge there at the head, and of course, as we mentioned, the dinosaur mouth can open. And if you want, you can plug in various blast effect parts. Although this big one may not. Kind of has an issue clearing the roof of the mouth, but you could use a different. Well, that one's warped, so let's swap out that centerpiece for one that's not warped here, and you can give him a blast effect there coming out of his dinosaur mouth. And then this arm, again, bicep swivel elbow hinge. He does have this hinge on his hand for unknown reasons, and then the claw can open and grab things as well. He does have a waist swivel, which is nice. Dual hinge hips in both directions. Hinge knees with a swivel there right above the knee. You can see where that white joint makes a swivel. And then he's got feet that can rotate kind of more in than out, but does have some ankle tilt as well as a really nice front to back joint. So he's got some very posable knees. Although sometimes if this doesn't catch quite right. There we go. If you get that locked together properly, you shouldn't have any issues, but sometimes opening the legs or putting the legs further apart will kind of split this. It'll stay clipped together, but just be aware of it. But yeah, very cool, very nice updated Megatron design. I'm really happy with it. If you don't want to use the blast effect, you can, of course. If you have the proper bot, you can have him hold his rubber ducky. Oh, come on. It's not that embarrassing. Be a big boy. No. There we go. This guy's rubber ducky for bath time fun. And of course, just for posterity, here he is with, granted this is the 10th anniversary, but with the original Megatron mold. And you can see, he's slightly smaller. You can see just based on the the dino heads. He's not quite as massive in dinosaur mode, but he is actually taller and a little bit more proportionate in his robot mode. And then let's go ahead and leave him there and put him in. Here is with the Masterpiece Megatron, who is, as you can see, much larger and not even in frame. But just to show him off with his compatriots, here he is with, like we did with Rhinox with Primal, here he is with the Generations Waspinator. And I think they look pretty good together, and with the original Transmetal Tarantulas, who I hope we get an updated version of at some point, although the original is still quite a fun and awesome toy. But I really do like that Transmetal Tarantulas design. I'd love to see what a modern take on him would be like. So there he is with some of his Predacons. And of course, for the Kingdom line, here he is with Optimus Primal. And again, show scale, I'm really happy with the scale the Kingdom is doing with these guys. Like I love the Rat Trap to Primal to even the Generations Rhinox or the Thrilling 30 Rhinox. I think they look fantastic together. I was hoping Black Arachne and Cheetor would be here by now, but they actually got into town really fast and then disappeared. Like Black Arachne has been 15 minutes away from my house since the 23rd and hasn't shown up. And Cheetor finally got a move on from CMD store. It was shipped on the 9th and finally got an origin scan yesterday. So it should be here soon too. But I think these guys look great together. I like Megatron being bigger than Primal. And I think, and like even Rat Trap being a little smaller than he was on the cartoon, but I think he looks good in the core class with these guys. So yeah, I'm very happy with Kingdom. I'm very happy with GameStop for getting like these two guys for all the delays that all my Beast Wars have been having. I don't know if it wasn't maybe some higher power being intentionally obtuse with some of this stuff, because these two were my main ones. And aside from the core class figures that I got a while back, these are the first two that showed up, despite the fact that I ordered some of the other ones way before I could even place an order for this guy for in stock. These two guys showed up first, and maybe it's just the cosmos aligning, because these are the ones I was most excited for, and now I have them. Both of them fantastic figures. I'm really happy with them. They're not 100% perfect. They all have their little quibbles with them, but for the most part, just fantastically fun. Megatron right up there. Like I really am having so much fun with this figure, just transforming it. He looks cool. He's fun to play with, and I'm really happy with that. Also, real quick before we go, part of the reason I got him out is because I found all these blast effects, and I just wanted to show you that you can, in fact, attach blast effects to both his forearm rifle and his shoulder cannons. Can take various blast effects from the Earthrise War for Cybertron line. Just FYI. So thanks again for watching. Again, if you see this on Twitter, like sharing this around, retweeting this, getting it out there, I would certainly appreciate. It's been kind of a slow year, and I've been behind on a lot of things, and I'm fine with that. Like I am not in a giant press for fame and popularity. But if you see this and you want to help me out a little bit, it doesn't cost anything to like retweet it or share it or post it somewhere, and I appreciate it. But thanks for watching. I hope you had a great as good a 2020 as you were able, because God knows 2020 has been kind of a mess. And better things for everyone going into 2021. I don't know if there might be one or two more videos that come out before the official new year, but I have a feeling I'm going to have a lot of eyes on this one. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking around, and like I said, I wish everybody the best. I hope you are all currently healthy and happy as can be, and we'll see what 2021 brings. Thanks, guys. Happy New Year.